Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Nate and I just finished our roughly 100-hour playthrough of V Rising. Probably could complete the game a little bit quicker, but I guess we took our time / got our butts kicked a little more than we should have. So we're just going to do a boss tier list. We did beat the game on Brutal, so our tier list is reflective of Brutal and Brutal difficulty, and if you guys don't know, the bosses do have different abilities in Brutal versus normal, and they also just play differently. So if something's rating a little bit different than you would expect, maybe go try it on Brutal and then get back to me on what your thoughts are on that fight. So first one right here, Alpha Wolf, first boss of the game. She basically fights like a normal wolf, except it's bigger and stronger, and maybe has some
there's no surprises. Also, I think it's a strong first boss to introduce you to the game because you don't have any of your skills and stuff yet. So you're very limited in terms of what you can do and how you can fight. So I think Alpha is a great way to start, but he is the baseline for the boss for me. So he's as middle ground as it possibly can be.
I think pretty solid B tier, very reasonable difficulty for being the first boss. Not overly crazy, but I don't think you can really put him higher than B tier, considering he's the first boss in the game and intentionally not complex.
He'll probably be the last one in the B tier, so he'll be the lowest ranking B tier, most likely.
So next on the list, we have the Armorer. He's kind of like middle of Act 1, I believe, throws traps out and such, has some swing ability, summons ads. I feel like also kind of like a middle B tier rank. He didn't have any mechanics or anything when I was playing him that I was like, wow, this is exceptionally fun.
He's got interesting mechanics because he does one of the first things that I don't like in a boss fight, which is crowd control. And he throws out all those little spikes, and those spikes will slow you down heavily. He also has that attack where he'll grab you with a hook and then drag you through the spikes. That gameplay does, like, if it wasn't for the crowd control...
Well, spikes are pretty easy to get rid of, right? They have 4 invulnerability armors for you to run.
It is, but when you're invulnerable, you can't attack or anything. So it's like, okay, I'm just sacrificing 10 to 15 seconds of a fight to clear up something that will crowd control me in the future. I don't like that type of mechanic, which is why he's not an A tier for me. I don't like stopping the fight for 10 seconds to go and clear up spikes and then get back in the fight. It's literally like just pausing the fight for no reason.
I guess we could put him in C tier for now.
Oh, I'm fine with B. I'm just saying he's not an A. If it wasn't for the CC,
not an A.
He would be higher up.
Frost Archer. What do you think of Frost Archer? I mean, Frost Archer, she shoots frost arrows at you, has like a triple shot, I think, does the rain of frost arrows from the sky. Honestly, her kit is like almost every Archer boss in this game has a very similar kit to this. Like exceptionally B tier, I think.
But then we get to like Lidia. I think Lidia was way more fun. Keely was, I think, too basic. And again, I think they did that because you don't have that many tools to deal with her. So they kind of dumbed her down a little bit. And she's not as fun as the other bosses. I would put her in C, personally. There's just nothing... I'll put her above this. There's nothing rememberable about her fight.
Yeah, it's an Archer who happens to have frost attached to the Archer.
Yep.
Okay, so the Stonebreaker is the next one. You roll the Stonebreaker. I think you fight him in, what is it? Not the Iron Mine.
The Copper Mine.
The Copper Mine, yeah. The Copper Mine. He has a number of those Chaos abilities. The Chaos Shockwave. A couple other stuff. I thought, and I believe he also summons ads throughout the fight. I thought it was a pretty
he does. Yeah, but the ads were really weak. The ads are pretty weak. He spawns in. I like it. He's a good example of... I'm trying to remember if he had crowd control. I think if you got hit by some of his attacks, they would CC you in some way, but I liked it.
It might be that after you got hit by his hammer, you were slowed for like a second afterwards.
Yeah, it was something like that. Or the shockwave. I don't remember. I really liked his fight. Personally, I would throw him in A tier. He was a fun fight.
Okay.
The environment... You're not exposed to the sun, so you can go in there daytime or nighttime. Lots of resources. He breaks the rocks too, so you get a bunch of copper from the fight. It's just a lot of things synergize pretty well. to make it feel like an immersive fight. Like, it feels like I'm fighting a boss, and the boss has skills I would expect a copper mine boss to have.
Yeah.
So
I'll agree for a low A tier for now. We'll see where things shake up if we want to adjust things later.
The Foreman.
Archer, he's a trapper, right?
Yeah, I would. He felt like an alpha wolf, but with a crossbow. Like, everything he did was simple, slow paced, easy boss fight. I would put him in C. Just, there's nothing exceptional, nothing great. And actually, I don't like the area the boss fight takes place in, because it's just all open, so you can only fight him at night. If you try to go there during the daytime, there's no cover. You're going to get beaten, and then he's going to summon ads.
Yeah, he was fairly easy. He throws a net at you.
Just go in there at night. You're going to beat him, and then move on.
Chaos Archer is next. Lydia. Yeah, I'm fine with the Foreman. It'll C tier. I think the Chaos Archer is also C tier, to be honest. She's just an archer, in my opinion.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I loved her. I don't know, because I think she's the step up to intermediary bosses, where you do have to start paying attention to what you're doing, and now you're getting certain types of equipment where you can start building, like, oh, I'm gonna go more of like spells or like leeching and stuff.
Yeah, but she's just an archer, and it happens to be chaos, and there's... I don't remember there being anything particularly memorable about her.
A few things, like she gets bonus points for me, though. Like, number one, Lydia is a patrol boss that's actually decently strong for a patrol boss in that stage, and so you can easily kite her into other bosses you want her to kill. I love versatility, where you can actually use a boss to your advantage. She's one of those. And for that, she gets bonus points because she actually makes the game more fun for me. So I would say she's B tier at least. And her attacks are a bit more fun.
I've got to do like bottom of B tier. I think she's just a super uninspired.
We can go bottom of B tier, sure, but I think she's B tier at least.
All right. We can agree to disagree on that. I want to revisit later. Firestarter, I think we both agree this guy was kind of a pain in the ass.
I did not like him like much at all. He just runs away from you like half the fight, and he's just throwing bombs that CC you.
And dropping them. It's like...
And then he also has such a huge reign. I would put him in D tier. Honestly, he might be the first. Like, there's...
Yeah, that's true. He is worse. Actually, you're right. He is worse. I would rather fight all three of these over this guy. That's a fair point.
Exactly. Like, that's exactly how that works.
Yeah,
I would rather fight all of those than that one guy.
I think this is Goreswine. He's, I think, the first cursed boss you fight that uses the unholy magic, or whatever you call it. Kind of is similar to the Firestarter, and then he just blows the whole map up continuously and leaves a pool of acid everywhere. But they're super easy to dodge, very telegraphed. I didn't think he was overtly crazy, but I thought he was like a reasonably fun boss.
His fight changes dramatically based off of where you fight him.
Okay, well, yes. Yeah, I mean, if you
well, he patrols, but in his patrol route, like 50% of his patrol route is areas you do not want to fight him.
Because they're narrow?
Like, yeah, because they're narrow. Like, when he starts doing his asset pools, you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Like, you're in trouble for 50% of his patrol route. I mean, I'm not sure if it's actually 50, but I'm just guessing there. But a lot of his patrol route is narrow, and you fight him in the wrong spot, or the fight brings you guys to the wrong spot. You're in trouble.
But that's like, you've got control of where you engage him, though. So, that's just the nature of the beast there. I'm not sure I'm going to hold that against the boss fight. Like, because he's patrolling, you have to wait 30 seconds for him to get to a proper area. Like, if you don't have the patience to wait that to not get fucked, then that's like you problem, in my opinion. Like, that's just you choosing to get wrong.
Well, the other thing is he's a boss where a lot of the areas you fight him are overlapping with other patrol routes. So there's a strong chance that when you're fighting Goreswine, you will come across a patrolling boss, and that's going to dramatically change the fight up a little bit. I am okay with C or B, like low C, B, or
I see,
maybe high C, because he is different. He's not a stock standard boss.
Yeah,
he does have some interesting abilities.
I think he's more interesting than the Chaos Archer, personally.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
can
gonna
see
put him
that.
above that.
I'm fine. I'm fine with mid B.
All right.
Did
Putrid
you put the
Rat,
rat in?
D tier.
Oh,
I don't like. It's just something you summon to get rat form. This is not even a boss fight. I'm putting him in D tier. Like,
Yeah, his boss fight's pretty easy. Yeah.
Feywalker. I'm inclined for Feywalker high B or low A. She's the one who is the first, what I call
butterflies.
illusion. Yeah, that summons the butterflies around. You've got to kill those. It's kind of like your first bullet helly like boss, and there's quite a few of them in this game. Think she's a pretty decent introduction to it. Pretty cool location as well for the boss fight, where it's a beautiful like nature area.
Yeah, I like all that. I can agree with A. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's definitely better than every boss in B tier.
A tier it is. I think she's better than the Stonebreaker, so I'm gonna put her above Stonebreaker. Ferocious Bear. I think we definitely have different opinions on the Ferocious Bear. I think the Ferocious Bear fight sucks.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't think it's the worst fight by far, but it does have some issues. I'm fine with C for the bear, like low C.
C. And for those watching, my main issues with it is particularly the stage 2 when the bear does the rage. It just moves so much faster than you that kiting the bear is pretty challenging and forces you to take defensive abilities. But then the problem with that is that she summons on Brutal additional bears to fight with it. And those bears have just a ton of health. It's just a very obnoxious fight and setup in general where it's just...
Yeah, the fight felt like it had more annoying mechanics versus mechanics for the boss fight. It's just like, hey, this is a mechanic that's just tedious and is going to take you time.
This is Nicholas the Fallen. I think he is an A tier boss. I think he is probably, of all of these bosses, my favorite boss.
He is a better boss than all of them on the list right now. Because he will be unforgiving if you screw up. He will nuke you. If you mess up, he will nuke you into oblivion. Well, but other than that,
it's also a balanced summoner fight. It's a summoner boss where there's just a lot of ads, but the ads are very easily managed around. He's got a couple of ranged attacks that are cool and keep you on your toes that you have to dodge while dodging the ads. But everything is very dodgeable if you're paying attention to your opponent. I think just a very well-designed boss fight. Yeah,
the big thing I had to learn was when he summons his ads, going after the long-range ads and just ignoring the close-range ads. Just ignore the skeletons. Go for the archers, because those are the guys that are going to hit you.
Yeah.
And then other than that, just pick at Nick, like, whenever you can. And eventually you'll get him down.
All right, so I think we're agreed. Best boss here. Bandit King. He's tough. He's definitely A tier, for sure. A tier boss.
Oh, I mean, I really liked this fight. I liked the courtyard you fight him on. Like he feels like a big boss because you have to make your way through that bandit camp, getting to him, which isn't the easiest camp. Like it takes a minute to get to him. You have to manage your blood. You really have to know what build you're going into that fight with on Brutal. You have to be familiar with what you're doing. And if you're not, he will
fight him
put
during
you...
the day. Like there's
no
do trees.
Not fight.
having done it, it's not a great time.
And then we're going to look on Google and see Silhouette posted a video where he's 10 levels lower, daytime, frail blood, no hit.
Yeah. So what you think? I think he's probably the best fight. So I'm
feeling S tier.
All right, we could make him our first S tier. I agree.
Okay, he's a well-rounded boss. He has everything. He will get up close, but he also has range. Like, he has multiple stages.
I think he's the capstone to Act 1 as well, if I remember correctly. And I think
he is.
For being the capstone boss for the act, he's also a very suitable boss fight for that. Like, you feel accomplished when you finish that boss fight.
Yes. Oh my god, the best feeling. I was in the airport when I fought him. That's how bad, like I wanted to beat him so badly that I took my gaming laptop to the airport and set it up in a Starbucks, and I was like trying to play this at the airport Wi-Fi, and I killed him at the airport, and I shouted out. I was like, "Yes!" That's funny. I'm at an airport. I can't do that. Don't like, dude. I jumped up because I was retrying him. It took me like 6.5 hours of retries to solo him on my first kill. Like he was hard for me. beat the life out of me for a while.
So next we've got Beatrice the Tailor. Spoiler for those of you who have only played this on normal. In normal, Beatrice is super easy because you just chase her around and you kill her, and there's nothing to it. And brutal, when you fight Beatrice, at a halfway health, she triggers phase 2 and turns into a gigantic demon. And actually, when she does that, she then becomes targeted by the civilians and soldiers in the town that she's in, as well as Jade, as if she's patrolling through there. So you can actually have Jade kill her if you want to, and the timing for that is kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, don't try to do it.
I think she's, as a boss, she's exceptionally easy. I mean, she's a kind of almost a throwaway boss. As far as the mechanics of the boss fight itself, I would probably say it's a C tier boss. I am inclined to put her at least at a B tier boss fight for 2 reasons. One, the kind of amusement and shock value of her transformation, I think, is hilarious.
Yes.
And then
Love
2, she's early on in Act 2, I believe, and is required to get the next tier of armor. And so whenever you have bosses that are make it easy to access gear that is needed for the rest of the content, I think that's also helpful.
Yeah. She's a good bottleneck for a lot of the cloth and stuff resources. I agree with B. Maybe even high B. Like, I would put him in front of the wolf, or put her in front of the wolf. She's good. I like it. I like when she transforms. I like the fact that the civilians join in on the fight too. I like boss fights that feel like there's a world.
Yeah.
And this boss fight makes you feel like you are in a dynamic world where there's more than just a boss fight going on.
Vincent, D tier. Fuck this guy. My least favorite boss in the entire game. Absolutely sucks. There is nothing that you can say that will make me move him above the lowest tier boss in the entire fucking game. Fuck Vincent Frostbringer. I don't even know where to start. We'll start with actually your complaints of crowd control. His fucking crowd control is so long when he freezes you in his block. And then when he hits his stage 2, he has that like triple dash ability that is just damn near impossible to dodge. The combination of the amount of CC he has with his triple dash is just so obnoxious and difficult. There was this 0 things I enjoyed about this entire fight, and fuck this guy.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you held back a lot, because what you said about him before we started recording, way worse. So, glad you reined in yourself for him. Secondly, I do agree. A biggest rule I have is if a fight has some type of undodgeable mechanic, a CC that is happening like way too much, or if they have an attack where even if you do things right, there's a chance for you to still get hit. Vincent kind of has, I think, all 3 of those to a degree. He does have excessive CC. He has an attack where, with his shield, even if you if you activate your shield when he starts his attack, your shield drops before he finishes his attack. So which one are you going to get hit by? I don't like that. That is a big problem to me. I don't like bosses that have a mechanic where you're hoping that their AI misses you. Like, that's not good.
And also a disclaimer, we didn't watch tutorials and stuff for a majority of the bosses when we were fighting them. So maybe someone figured out a solution. All right, I think I've said enough about how much I hate this guy, so I think we can move on.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with putting him in D tier just because, the only thing I remember about his fight is that he's annoying.
Who is this? Is this that priest girl that roams around? What was her name?
Christina, the sun goddess.
The Sun Priestess, yeah.
Or the Sun Priestess, yeah. She's fun, actually. I recall fighting her. She has a lot of AoE spells, like they blast out in like an array. Yeah, she's almost like, I think she had a lot of similar attacks to the Frost Archer. It's just her attacks are holy instead of frost.
She is a nerfed down version of Raziel or whatever his name is that you fight in the church. All of the holy priests are basically have the same attacks. They just get progressively more ridiculous the higher tier you go.
Except Christina has a fun mechanic. I don't know if this is the brutal one, but she summons brutes, and then she also will heal the brutes.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's 3v1, and they're brutes. They're about your same level, and she's healing them and buffing them during the fight, and you're trying to get her health down. That's pretty fun. You gotta choose your targets, who you're fighting, who you're kiting, and saving your dodges and your shields. That's a fun boss fight. So I'm good with A tier.
Yeah, some her and Nicholas are pretty close, I think. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Boy.
All right. Tristan, whose head is cut off in this image, the controversial one. I'll let you start on Tristan and share your thoughts first.
Personally, I would put Tristan normal mode A, but on brutal mode low B, mainly because his brutal attack, he does this spinning Beyblade attack where he puts everything on fire. Here's the issue I have with this attack. This attack is very long, and throughout the entire attack, he moves faster than you and hits rapidly. So it's just like Vincent, the Frost dude, where you're just like, okay, cool, he's going to start this attack. I hope he runs off in the wrong direction, because if he actually targets me and chases me with this attack, I'm screwed. Like, the only hope you have is that he just doesn't hit you. So I really don't like a boss fight where you're trying to trick the AI into going a different direction. That's not
Which is what I did by kiting him around a mountain.
Right, and that's what a lot of people did, is they just kited him around a rock. Same with Vincent. And I'm like, okay, well, when you have a boss where the most viable strategy is kiting them around a rock, that's not fun for me. Yeah. So I would say like low
bottom
B,
of B or up or end of C, because I could see an argument for both. I mean, I do think
I would probably put him closer to Vincent then and put him in C tier.
All right, Shadow Priestess next. I think like mid A tier. She summons those like shadow soldiers that she eats at you. Takes a little bit to get used to and learn that you can actually break them, but once you do, I think it becomes pretty manageable.
Yeah, she was the first boss where I actually focused on learning all of her attacks and her attack pattern. And once you do that, the boss fight is so easy. Because it's like, oh, she does her first attack. Okay, then her second attack, which is the 3 missiles. Okay, then her third attack, which is she summons 2 guys in. Oh, you get this pattern down, you know... You start pre-shooting the guys she's going to summon in, because you know the timing of it.
This was the first one we fought where we felt it was technically challenged.
Yes.
That required a lot of active effort.
It does kind of require you to learn her pattern and learn her rhythm, but once you do, the fight becomes 80% easier. It's dramatically easier. I would put her in A.
Yeah.
Like a low A.
I think above these two is reasonable.
Yes, I agree with that.
All right.
Maybe above Christina.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I had more fun on Nicholas's fight than her, so I'm going to leave her below Nicholas.
Yeah, fair enough.
Geomancer.
Yeah, her fight wasn't the most fun. It was difficult.
Next, we got the Geomancer. She makes herself into a big old golem, summons more golems. She's so slow that you can kind of just throw stuff at her. I think really the only challenging mechanic, at least on Brutal, I don't know what she does in Normal, is when she is in her stage 2 and she does the repeated earthen forked shockwaves. I think like a B tier fight. Like, it wasn't bad.
I'm thinking C for her. C? Like, there wasn't anything fun about her fight at all. It was just a lot of tedious managing your shields and stuff, making sure you don't get caught in a corner. Other than that, there wasn't anything. There was not a single fun mechanic. There wasn't a mechanic I enjoyed about her.
Yeah, that's valid. Let me see. I'm putting definitely above the bear.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, Tristan definitely had more fun attacks. Than her.
Fair enough. All right. Well, this guy, this is the Frost Beast or whatever. What's his name? Frostmaw. I don't know. He's a very cool boss fight. The only thing I greatly disliked was when he activates his blizzard form and just starts zooming around fast as all get out. And it's so fast that you basically can't kite him, so you have to summon Az to distract him, which honestly is not that unmanageable. So it actually ends up not being that big of a deal, unlike Tristan's fight.
Right.
I think he's like an okay. I definitely think he's above Tristan. I would put him probably definitely below Beatrice. Probably.
Yeah, I could see him being between like Goreswine and Lidia.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I cannot believe Alpha Wolf is this highly ranked. Though it's kind of funny.
Well, yeah, but remember, it's because you're limited on your tools and stuff. So it's like the stage of the game you fight Alpha Wolf.
Oh, I know why it's there. I just think it's hilarious.
He's good. Yeah, it is funny, but yes, I agree.
So I am going to put, this is the light archer, I think. What was her name?
Oh,
Meredith.
yes.
Meredith the bright
Yes.
archer. So
Yes.
So hear me out here.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right.
Hear me out. So the reason is, you never actually have to kill her, because Krieg will kill her for you. And I think that inherently makes her a bad boss, because I would wager that most people will probably never actually fight her, because they will walk into the iron mine and find her dead on the floor and just drink her blood.
You are completely right. And I think that is what majority of people did, is they walked into the iron mine and they're like, why is there a dead boss on the floor? And then you just drink her blood. And then you're like, how far ahead was this boss? I'm like level 30 and I just beat I think she's in the 40s or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
She's actually 53 on Brutal.
Yeah, that's right. She is 53. So that's a big jump. And again, it's a little disappointing that she is so easy to cheese.
It's not by accident. I literally walked into the iron mine. I didn't even know what was in there. I just saw her on the ground. And to me, I cannot tell you a single attack that she has. All right, next we've got Jade.
A tier.
A tier?
I love her. A tier.
All right, yeah, we could just put her right here. I think that's pretty
I liked her. She's fun. She has guns, and she is exactly what I imagine a vampire hunter with a gun to be. She's exactly what I imagine it to be.
Fair enough.
She is a fun fight, and you can also use her to go kill some other bosses too, because you can kite them into her patrol route.
Doesn't have any bullshit obnoxious mechanics unlike another vampire hunter reviewed already.
No, it's literally just a shoot-off between who can dodge each other's attacks and who can do more damage. And I love that. That's a fun mechanic. Also, her voice lines are really good too.
Good voice actor. I think the voice actors in general did a pretty good job in the game, but she does have a good voice actress with good lines.
Yes. Yeah, I like it.
So, Raziel, or Raziel, however you say it.
Oh, this guy.
S tier.
Yeah.
S tier. Easy S tier, in my opinion.
Oh, why is that?
He is the next step up in Holy. I just thought his boss fight had the right balance of chaos and like shit going on, of having to dodge the beam from the sky, having to dodge him shooting stuff at you, having to destroy the nodes that he sets up that will mess you up and slow you down if you get too close. It's like bullet helly, but not too much. It's very manageable to do solo once you get the hang of it. I felt a very overall fun fight, and it felt like you're fighting him in a church, right? It feels like you're fighting a very powerful priest.
I agree. The main thing with like the bullet hell type situations is damage. So I felt like his damage was completely within like reality. It was what it should be. If it was more, it could run away real fast.
Yeah.
He was a completely manageable boss fight. It was fun. And I feel like it was also like the more people you have, the more stuff he spawns that are shooting. The boss fight progressively will get harder with more people. So
yeah,
fight him solo or with a friend, you're probably going to have the same experience either way, which is really nice. And that's a good boss fight to me.
Agreed. Easy S tier. Okay, so this one, I think, I'm not really sure where to put Octavia, the militia leader.
Yeah, for me, I feel B because his attacks, they're on the borderline of just being annoying.
I honestly found most of his fight to be annoying.
He's in the middle of being difficult and annoying at the same time. And kind of like the other bosses, it's just not fun. But he is kind of what I'm expecting for a militia captain.
Who is this guy? Oh, he's the guy he's in one of the villages in the north area. What was his name?
He summons those ads or whatever.
Yeah, he's got a counter. I think C tier just because he's unremarkable. I think above Tristan. Top end.
I would definitely put him above Tristan.
I think he's worse.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's that exceptional of a fight.
No, I went in and beat him on my first try on Brutal. So I didn't even know his attacks. I didn't know what spells to be using. I just walked in and killed him and then left.
Okay. Top end of C tier it is. Werewolf guy. I actually thought this was a pretty cool fight. Unique. I mean, he's only werewolf related boss. He goes invisible. I think he does clones of himself. There's that part where you have to kill all of the villagers that run out to keep him from healing. He has that where he'll go rage, stop at one spot, and rapid attack, which is very easy to dodge. I think just a pretty okay fight overall. Nothing crazy bad, nothing against him, just like reasonably fun.
I don't know. I got really annoyed when the villagers get released and like they just stand there and get eaten. It's like the villagers want it to get eaten, and then they just restore a massive part of his health. That's really annoying. I was not a fan of that.
Is disproportionately great. It is a lot of healing.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, and you can't. At least I couldn't DPS the villagers down before he ate them. So,
I mean, it was tough for both of us together to do that. And
yes.
So, yeah, I don't think that puts him in a C tier, though. I still think that kind of puts him in somewhere mid B tier.
I would agree with that. I'm sure if you use with hindsight now, like I'm sure if we would have went in there with say static abilities of some kind, we probably would have done much better because we could chain lightning the civilians as they're running around.
Big Toad. Did we kill this Toad on our first try too?
Yeah, we did.
He jumps around, shoots acid or something. I think pretty not especially memorable if I'm being honest, because I don't remember him and he's at the end of the game.
Yep. No, he was easy.
All right, I'll put him bottom of B tier. Not bad, nothing bad, but no exceptional. Who is this? Is this like Cassius? I think. Honestly, I don't remember this boss fight at all, so I'll just let you.
Well, remember he summoned a sword, and like the sword would run around, and we would have to fight it.
Oh yeah, you had to destroy the sword and all of that. That was an interesting mechanic.
I really enjoyed that mechanic.
All right,
That's a mechanic I like. Yeah. Oh, he's definitely above the frog. Actually, I wouldn't even have the frog in B tier. I would have the frog in C tier. He's just completely not memorable at all.
Cassius, now that you reminded me of the floating sword, yes, actually that was a super cool mechanic. I'm putting him.
I would put him.
No, I'm putting him here. Elementalist. He was kind of obnoxious.
I enjoyed it. It was an okay fight. It was above average.
I'll put her low B. It was just
not much to talk about with her. It was
what you think an elementalist fight's gonna be like. That's how that fight goes. This is the Blade chick. Cannot remember her name. Blade Dancer.
Yes.
Blade Dancer.
Yep, the Blade Dancer.
I thought she was like a fairly fun fight the first time.
She was good.
Speed was obnoxious, but very manageable, especially if you use ads to distract her. I would argue I definitely enjoyed her more than Octavia.
Oh, yeah. I would put her in A tier.
Low A?
Yeah, I'm okay with low A for her. She was fun, and also another one where the voice acting was great. Like, I loved her lines. She was fun. The way she would kind of taunt you and stuff during the fight, too. That was great.
This is another priest guy. I think it begins with an R. Azariel the Sunbringer. Azariel the Sunbringer, he's honestly, to me, he felt like a worse version of this guy. What made him challenging were there were those statues in the church.
Oh yeah, the beams.
That would shoot beams at you that you couldn't destroy the statues. That was obnoxious. But as far as the actual boss itself, he just seemed like he had less going for him than this guy did.
Yeah, the only real difference was those beams of light.
Yeah, and
that was it.
I don't think he was a bad fight. Like, I'd still probably put him A tier.
Yeah, he's A tier.
All right, Gore Crush. I'm putting him top of A tier.
Okay, I can see that.
I think the shock factor of when you're walking around the cursed forest for the first time and he's 25 levels higher than you, and you see this big hulking behemoth thing, and you're like, "Oh shit, what is this?" You're like scared and mindless, and
especially when you're cursed and you can't see your map because of the curse, and you're just trying to figure out how to get out of the forest, and then this guy appears on you.
Yeah, it's great.
You're in a horror movie now, and you are running, and you're hoping he's not following you. I didn't feel like he was copying any of the other bosses.
Nope, you need mechanic.
He was a fun, fresh boss fight happening in a new area.
Yeah, top of A tier for sure. Next one is we'll do the fisherman next. I think its name's Finn.
Oh yeah, dude, I forgot about that guy.
Finn, I thought he was a fine fight. I don't think he had an annoying mechanics really. He didn't have any CC. He summons decent amount of ads. He has that fit
the big Hydra.
That comes up from the middle. I thought he was actually a fairly fun fight. Nothing crazy, but
yeah. And well, he can also be fun because he summons all those little fish too to come fight you.
Yeah.
He's also an earlier boss. You can fight him pretty early on in the game. It's surprising to me, like, how much they did in that boss fight, considering how early on the game is. I'd say he's at least A tier. I would put him in A for me because he just has so many unique mechanics in one boss fight. He even has a custom map. You fight him on a dock. There's no other dock in the game.
So if I'm thinking about these fights, I enjoyed him more than probably all of these. And then I think she would have to be higher because I think she was better than all of these. So
yes. Oh yeah, I agree. No, she's higher A. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of these have their heads cut off. It is what it is. All right. So what else we got? We got Krieg. So Krieg, he's kind of funny as a boss because a part of me wants to give him props because he will always be used to kill the Bright Archer, or he will always kill the Bright Archer, so you can kind of use him to cheese her. Other than that, I mean, I didn't find his fight overly memorable, but I know he was an interesting summoner, inclined to at least upper B, maybe low A, but I don't think much higher than that.
Yeah, I could see an argument for him being low A tier. He is a fun boss. He's not really a copy-paste of the other bosses, which is nice. He has unique skills. The difference between him and Nicholas the Fallen will summon more over the course of the boss fight, but Krieg will summon more in a short time span, which is nice because it really puts a lot of pressure on you. And the other thing is, if you don't kill them, they can explode. And if they explode, they will do a lot of damage. With Nicholas the Fallen, you can ignore all of the skeletons, only kill the ranged summons, and then just focus on Nick. Krieg, you got to kill all of them, or else they will kill you. And meanwhile, you're dealing with that, you also have to deal with Krieg, who has massive AoEs. He does his own spinny attack.
So what are you thinking? I mean, I definitely think it has to be above Octavia. So somewhere here. Or
I can see A, like a low A.
A low A. I think probably less than Finn, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed Finn more.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Oh, actually, wait, hold on a second. Do I have two Gore Crushers, or is there a different thing? Big Behemoth. Because this
that one might not be.
I think this is Gore Crusher. I don't know what is this.
Terrorclaw the Ogre. You fight him in the frozen cave in the Hollowed Mountains.
Oh, that's right. As you can tell, not overly memorable for either one of us. At the same time, I don't think it was a bad fight by any means. By not being memorable, it means it was also not memorable in a terrible way as well. So,
if I'm right, this was part of the bosses where we kind of got in a groove at a certain point where we just started one-shotting a bunch of bosses, just going through, and it's like, hey, in 30 minutes, we just killed 4 bosses. And he was one of those bosses. So once you hit like after Act 1 and you start getting decent builds, you kind of just will walk through a lot of the bosses, and he was one of them. There just wasn't anything memorable or overly difficult about his boss fight, so he was just a standard boss that we just kind of got through. So I would put him in the middle ground. He was as middle as it gets.
Agreed. I think this is Maja, the Dark Savant. So what I like about Maja is, and that I think we should give her points for, I think her arena is very cool in the tower. I thought that was sick.
It's exactly what I want my office to look like.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With the accompanying hot second.
Yeah,
right?
I want her to be included with the office package.
For purely professional reasons, obviously.
Totally. She'll be a great secretary.
She has to be. She's higher than Octavia for sure. Fuck Octavia.
No, Maja, she wasn't annoying. She was actually like, all of her attacks, they were unique, they were telegraphed, they weren't copying any other bosses, and they felt fun in terms of like dodging them. They didn't feel overly tedious or okay, I just have to go and stand here for 5 seconds, then attack, or nothing like that. It's just, just get in the fight, bob and weave, and keep doing damage to her when you can. I love that type of boss fight. I would put her in A tier because there's not really any downsides. She's a decent boss with no real downsides, and she's difficult. Mm-hmm. To me, that's like my A tier criteria. Difficult, not annoying, fun and unique skills and attacks. she had all three of those for me.
Where would you put her in A tier?
I mean, she's definitely above Rufus, or not Rufus, Errol. She's above Errol. Yeah, I could see that. That could work for me.
All right, we'll leave her there. Ben the Wanderer. Okay. All right, so hear me out. Hear me out on Ben the Wanderer.
Oh, okay.
What you think? How does that make you feel?
Hold on.
What? Your camera is currently my tier list.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was just trying to explain how I felt about that one.
Okay. So hear me out. Okay, here's the reason. So Ben obviously is not really a boss fight. He just runs away from you and you attack him. And he'll like swing at you if you get too close and he shoots some balls. The reason I think that Ben is in what is a S tier boss is simply because of it is actually because of how easy it is, because he makes getting the curse countering cloak exceptionally easy. And it makes going through the cursed woods bearable. So for those of you who haven't gotten there, the cursed woods north, when you're there, as you continuously build up this curse that reduces both your vision as well as your ability to see the mini-map as you're going through. And the only way to counteract that is you have to find these little wisps that are around and activate them, which is a pain in the butt because they're
I ignored
sporadic.
them completely.
Yeah, exactly. So really the best way to do it is to equip the cloak that you can only craft once you kill Ben. So I think that the game giving you the item to make this area bearable so early on from when you enter the area is a W. So that's why I have him at S tier.
My problem, though, is I don't like ranking a boss based off the reward they give you for killing them. That doesn't explain anything about the boss fight or their mechanics.
Well, it's how they fit into the game as a whole and the world.
Yeah, no. That's a category itself that you give a few points. But like, okay, sure, he is an immersive boss that integrates you well with that area of the map. And that's all he does. So, okay, 20% of his role is done well. What about the other 80%? The boss fight, there is no boss fight. He's just running from you and is extremely annoying to chase. He is my least favorite. I would rather fight Vincent than this dude.
Dude, you're
because
crazy.
Vincent
just summon ads and they block his path. He's so easy. Literally
Sure.
just summon Death Knight and the skeletons. It takes like 30 seconds to kill this guy.
Right. But that kind of is going into what I'm saying as like, he kind of sucks. He's really easy. He's just annoying.
Fine, I will put him
He's
at the
only
top
annoying.
of D tier. I'll put him at the top of D tier.
Okay, I'll settle with top of D tier. Only because he gives you a good item.
Fine. No, I'm putting him in C tier. I have to.
Eh.
Do you want to talk about Bane while I itch my eye?
Yeah, totally. Bane is a really interesting boss because he is camouflaged to look like a human that's walking between settlements. There's a good chance that you could be out and about doing something completely irrelevant and you attack a human and it happens to be this guy. And he will beat you down real fast if you do that. If you are not expecting a fight with this dude and one starts, this guy will toss you around and he's really fun. I like them. He's very challenging. At least with the build I was running, he felt pretty challenging to me. It was a good fight. I got really lucky I fought him multiple times, but the very first time I fought him, I got lucky. I came across him and Jade fighting, which was amazing. So because Jade just killed him and that was awesome. I stayed away from that fight though, because Jade won at me and I was not going near that.
I agree with what you said. The only thing is that I will dock him for is he has the ability that he will use when you trigger his phase 2, where he will disappear and like 10 clones of him will pop around and then you have to go find which one of his clones is him. I think that is just a throwaway mechanic. I think his serves no purpose and is stupid. Well,
the other thing though is some of those clones are actually skeletons too. So if you attack the wrong one,
I get that. I just think it's a stupid mechanic that just like wastes time. I don't think it's particularly fun. or adds any increased difficulty to the fight at all. He's probably objectively an A-tier boss. I don't know if I'd put him above. I'd probably put him like here. Are you okay with this placement here of above
Christina? Yeah, I'm okay with. I'm okay with Bane being ahead of that.
Alrighty, so let's do the spider.
The spider I thought was easy. I remember not really being prepared for that fight. I wasn't even sure how to get to it.
You dumpstered the spider. It took me a couple tries.
If I'm right, I think I killed her on my first try.
You did.
I think.
I jumped in as towards the end. I happened to have gotten online while you were in the middle of the boss fight and just ran over.
Yeah, I remember she wasn't bad though. I would say B tier. She was a B. Nothing great, nothing exceptional, just B. Yeah, high B is fair for the spider.
Let's see. Are there any other low ones that we just accidentally skipped? Is it
the very last one?
Oh,
yeah, that one.
This person.
I thought they were very fun, especially when they did like their jetpack.
The jetpack
ability.
Yeah.
The jetpack ability was fun. They were a bit unpredictable in terms of like you don't know where this boss fight is going to go.
Slap it there.
You had to learn new attacks. It wasn't like they didn't copy over other attacks from other bosses. And it took us I thought she took us 3 or 4 tries, which was pretty good.
Yeah. I remember who this is now. This is that Frost archer chick from the vampire area that gets on the pillar.
Oh, yeah, I was looking for her.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
nope, that checks out.
I thought that final move that she does was pretty cool.
She definitely stood out the most from the other archers.
Yeah, but she's still an archer. Like, for me, it's hard to rank her higher than B tier, to be honest. I can't remember any mechanic that was, oh, wow.
That's because you just can't understand ranged attacks.
Oh, yes, clearly.
I'm fine with putting her in B. I could see it.
Love the spider. Glass blower. We also skipped to the glass blower.
The glass blower. I'm trying to even remember that fight.
Yeah, so you go in, she will throw down the pieces of molten glass around the base, and then she will blow really hard. Then they will turn frost, and then they'll explode. And then she has the attack where she'll dash across the map at you. I thought she was a pretty fun boss. She's
fine. Once you learn her mechanics, it becomes incredibly easier. Like, don't get hit by the glass shards. Like, I didn't know that the molten glass explodes. I wasn't expecting that because it looks like, okay, do these just stay on the ground and then boom? And I'm like, oh, they do a lot of damage too.
That was a wow factor the first time you fight her for sure.
Yeah, but now that I know that, I go into that fight. It's like, oh, I'm just going to equip my frost shield and just block everything and have it do damage to her.
Okay, are you fine with low A tier?
I'm fine with A tier. She's a unique boss, fun, nothing too annoying. It's a good boss. A lot of the bosses in this game were pretty well fleshed out, well-rounded.
Do you remember who this guy is?
Yes, that's the blacksmith dude. He's in the same area as the Wanderer.
Oh, that's right.
Area.
Oh, yeah, he summons all those spectral weapons. Oh, he's high A tier. His boss fight was cool as hell.
Yeah, he was a fun boss, actually.
Honestly.
The only issue I have with him is I kind of thought he was easy, unfortunately. Like, he was a boss that I really wish they made a little harder.
So the reason I think he was easy is because they didn't scale. I don't think they scaled the weapon count to the number of players. So having one of us to be able to focus fire the weapons while the other DPS down the boss I think helped a lot. I could be wrong. Neither one of us. I think we got him on our first try or second try or something.
So maybe they need to increase the multiplayer difficulty on him.
Yeah, I just thought he was a cool boss. Like the spectral weapons was sick. All right, A tier, easy. See who else we have. The sommelier, I think also probably A tier.
A tier for sure. I actually loved his boss fight. The barrels. At first, I thought it was dumb. Like at first, I was like, "This is such a dumb gimmick." Like, they're just doing this to make it harder. But then once I got a bit better with my spell casting, it's like, no, wait a second. You can really make this work. It's so easy to navigate. And then I realized the gimmick that I hated was actually really fun because I just got good at dodging the barrels. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I don't need to use my spells and stuff to destroy the barrels. I'm just dodging the barrels. And once you learn how to really dodge the barrels good, the boss fight is dramatically easier.
I don't remember his voice lines, but I remember him having entertaining voice lines. And just in general, the idea of fighting a fat dude drinking wine while throwing barrels of wine at you is just amusing. A tier, easy.
Yeah, no, he's an A tier.
This guy, Sir Magnus the Overseer, this guy sucks. I hated fighting this guy. Yeah,
he's a C tier because that frost ability he does where he like shields himself and he has like 3 walls of frost between you and him. And then it's like, it just takes you forever to cut through them and get to him. And then by the time you do it, it's almost over anyway. And
obnoxious. The whole fight sucked. The whole fight was a pain in the ass. So this is the mech guy in the Gloomrot area. I thought he was a kick butt fight.
He was good. He had that big shield he was great because he's one of the first bosses where you're like, Summoner might be difficult on this fight. I might have to switch things up.
I'm putting him high A tier for sure.
Yeah, there's so many A tier bosses.
Yeah. This guy, the disco scientist.
I'm gonna have to vouch for S tier on this guy.
Really? For the disco scientist?
I really liked his fight. There was so much going on, but they all were dodgeable. Everything in that fight it's just so much is going on. At first you feel like this is impossible. Like I'm just gonna get torn apart. But by the end, did he take me 10 to 15 tries? Sure. But eventually got there, and by the time I got there, it's like, oh, I've got his fight down now. This is actually really good. I like it because, and he's in mid-70s. He's supposed to be difficult, and he is. He's not as hard as Styx, but he's a good fight. He is definitely more difficult than any of the A-tier bosses we have.
Oh, well, I will certainly agree with that.
And with that difficulty, there's nothing meticulous or annoying that comes with it.
Are you thinking top of A tier?
I was thinking A or S. Top A or S tier.
The reason I'm hesitant to put him at S is we've got quite a few S's coming up, saved for last, and I would put him below any of the other S tiers.
I can see that. We can make him the champion of A tier.
Yeah.
He is the pinnacle of A tier.
Because, I mean, we've got 2 left before we get into the final echelon of difficulty. So we've got the Harpy chick. Man. Harpy... kind of obnoxious of a fight.
Dude,
like I'm torn because it was annoying.
No, because she kept summoning so many other harpies. They never ended, and the harpies are really annoying because they're faster.
Range attacks.
This fight, I would say she was almost as difficult as Henry Blackbrew, but she was far more annoying. I would put her in B tier. She's not bad like any of the C tier guys.
So if I'm looking at this list, and as well as in terms of fun had fighting them, I would say that she goes about here from a fun perspective in overall quality.
Yeah, I'm looking for that as well, and yeah, I would definitely say Beatrice was more fun for sure, but Octavian was less fun. So yeah, that's a good spot.
Spellweaver.
I don't even remember much about her fight. I remember her being easy.
I don't remember her fight at all either. Let's just throw her at...
I would say if top of C, low C or D. She just... If I remember, she was just very easy. I just walked in there, nothing crazy, and I just beat her.
I think we just beat her. All right. We are down now to the final 6 highest level bosses in the game. We'll start this off with probably the easiest one on here to rank. Simon Belmont, easy S tier. I don't know about the most fun boss, but he is a damn fun boss. He is everything that you would want to fight probably the most famous fictional vampire slayer of all time. You would want that fight to be. It's epic. He uses all of the weapons from the Castlevania, not all of them, but a lot of the weapons from the Castlevania lore. Great fight. Easy top S tier.
I agree. He's definitely S tier. His attacks, they felt legendary. You're like, okay, this is a massive attack. Like when he does that flaming cross and stuff, you're like, okay, leave the area. It's a serious fight, and he feels like Simon Belmont. That's the greatest compliment you can give. He feels like you're fighting Simon Belmont.
The next, Talzar. I think Talzar is actually top A tier.
Yeah, I could actually see
I don't think he's in the same level of the S tier as the other guys. Because, like, once you figure him out, it's pretty manageable, and you can honestly just swarm him with ads. If you just spawn summons, you can just overwhelm him with summons.
Yeah, at first the ads didn't work because we just didn't really know how to use them or his attack patterns. But once you get his patterns down right...
What just happened? I didn't press anything. Well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Please pause for this quick commercial break. Okay, we are back after having fixed the tier list. So next, let's do... I think we'll do Styx. Vampire General guy. I think pretty easy S tier. I think less than Belmont, but I don't know if we really need to debate that one much.
Yeah, Styx was, up to that point in the game, I do believe Styx was the most difficult boss. Like, when you get to him, every boss before him was easier. Like, not even comparably.
It was, I mean, he took us a couple hours to be tag team.
Yes.
It was pretty brutal fighting him for the first time.
And not to mention, like, the entire time you're fighting him, you're getting attacked by the dragon flying above the battlefield and all that other fun stuff.
Tough but good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Solaris.
He's really good.
So Solaris, obviously S tier. The only thing is I felt he fighting the leader of the Holy Church and basically the most powerful human in existence. He very much feels it, particularly when you get into his third stage where he's just like nuking you, it feels like. But at the same time, I felt that his stage 3 was just incredibly challenging because of how much stuff there was. And thinking back on it, actually, what you probably need to do is switch to double shield. Actually, I bet you that would make his stage 3 actually manageable.
I think that's what I did.
And I feel like I did that too, and I still got my ass kicked. But
I believe I went Condemn Shield, and then I went Frost Shield. So the combination of those, because my Condemn is spawning skeletons to draw aggro from him, and because he also summons too. So the skeletons do great at drawing aggro. And then the Frost Shield, because the gem I had makes, the Frost Shield does damage to him as well.
I found him very tedious. I mean, he's a good fight, but he was probably my least favorite of the endgame boss fights, just because of some of his obnoxious mechanics. So I'll put him like mid S tier. I think he's probably above these other two. Adam. So obviously S tier boss fight. Question is above or below Belmont? I think in terms of difficulty, certainly more difficult than Belmont. I mean, he's fucking hard.
Adam was difficult. That fight, I don't even remember how we beat him. Like, I remember that when we beat him, we were like tired. We felt physically beaten by this guy. He put us through the ringer.
So I am inclined. I mean, the map is a part of the boss fight, right? But Simon Belmont as a boss was just cool because he was cool and he was great. Adams, I think a decent portion of the fight's both difficulty and all that was a function of the map, those lightning coils, which you can deactivate, which is a plus, right? It is an interactable mechanic, which I think is great, but that's not Adam, though it is a part of the fight. So I'm torn. I'm inclined to put it. I think I probably enjoyed the Belmont fight more than the Adam fight, but I think Adam is clearly a more challenging fight. So I guess it's whichever one we want.
Adam's more challenging, but he's also more frustrating. So Simon is challenging but more fun. So I think it's fair to put Simon above Adam. But Adam is hard.
Well, and then the other thing too, which we forgot to mention when we talked about Simon, only boss in the game that's level scales. So you will never be at any point a higher level than Simon Belmont, which I think is awesome. Simon Belmont will never be a wash fight where you just dumpster him because you're higher level than him, and I think that's exactly how it should be. That is amazing. And then now we have Dracula. I don't really know if we need to say much about that best, probably one of the best boss fights that I have ever encountered in any game I've played, period. It was unbelievably challenging. You felt like you were fighting Dracula. His castle is cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
His voice lines and voice actor were amazing. Just 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 boss fight. Hard as shit, though, on Brutal. I mean, it took us... How many hours? What do you think? 10 hours, 12 hours to beat this guy? For the first time? Of just straight attempts?
Yeah, that sounds right. I almost want to say more, possibly. Like, this guy was no joke.
I mean...
It was because there was even a point, just for the people listening, going in there as a duo and trying to fight him was not a good idea. Like, we had to individually fight him for a while to learn how to fight him. Because if it's two people, there is now so much stuff going on in this fight, it's difficult to learn the fight. You have to 1v1 him to dumb the fight down a little bit, just so you can start learning the mechanics.
On Brutal. And there's also two extra stages on Brutal versus normal.
Right.
Or maybe one stage. I think it's
it's one more stage, I think.
Yeah, there's extra stages. There's other stuff. There's more mechanics when you have more people in the fight as well, which is great, right? The fight scales a little bit if there's more people, as it should.
Yeah, which is funny because they're like, oh yeah, definitely do this fight with a friend. And I'm like, okay, cool. But on Brutal, that actually makes the fight harder too, in some ways. So it depends on where you're struggling. If you're struggling in phase 1, a friend is not going to help. Trust me.
Phase 1 is certainly easier by yourself.
Yes.
After that, having a friend helps.
Yeah, phase 2, a friend is great, especially if you two stay on opposite sides of the map. So you guys are completely split. It limits the amount of attacks he can send your direction. And then phase 4, having a friend is also great for the DPS check. He was amazing boss fight to end the game. An absolutely amazing boss fight. I remember when we beat him, it was actually our last attempt for that night, and it was on day 2 of us fighting him. Literally the last attempt on day number 2. I was playing with a mindset of I'm just chill, I'm just trying to learn the fight and get a little better, and we'll take him out in the morning, whatever, and we just coast it, and it's like, hey, we're killing him. Oh, we're killing him. Oh, we're killing him. Oh, we killed him. Oh my God. Freaking lost my mind. It was amazing.
I actually stood up and yelled in excitement when we beat him. Because I was so happy that we finally got him.
Glad to have him dead finally. Like, it really, this is the first, not only that, but I also want to mention this game is like one of the very few games where I picked it up and I beat it almost immediate. Like, I literally just got this game, was like, oh, let me try it out. Okay, I'm going to stop playing every other game, and I'm just going to be playing this game. And I pretty much only played V Rising until we completed it. Like, I think towards my 3rd week with V Rising, I was like, oh, I think I can take a break from this game finally.
Yeah.
On my 3rd week, I was 3 weeks in before I took a break. This game's really good.
So just to round this out, taking a quick look back through this list, are there any that we would move around the placement of? I'm looking back at the armor and just compared to the... I understand why he's here, but compared to the company he's in...
I'm totally fine with him being A tier. Because again, remember, he's an early game boss, so we don't have a lot of tools. So it's not like they can make him too crazy. For the point in the game you're fighting him, he's a fun boss.
Okay, so I think we're locked on our tier list then. So that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed watching our tier list video. If you agree with us, disagree with us, let us know down in the comments, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.